everyone. You are about to watch the episode where we go over our little Ada girl's new diagnosis. If you've been following along, you know that we have been searching for answers for years. And through the means of genetic testing, we found out that she has something called Rett syndrome, R-E-T-T syndrome. It's a pretty terrifying diagnosis. However, since recording this, we have been to the specialized clinic in, it's part of UCSF. And we've learned a little more. So we will most likely not have to experience any major regressions for Ada. And while recording this episode, that was something that we weren't sure of. We were really fearful of that. Feel free to Google Rett syndrome. It's definitely worth raising awareness for Rett syndrome. The humans that are really affected by it, it's really unfair what Rett syndrome steals from these humans. So feel free to Google it. There's lots of research going on about how to treat it. But yeah, at the time of recording this, I didn't know very much. So please take all of my details with a grain of salt. So we've always said that we record our episodes and usually don't release them for a handful of weeks. We kind of try to stay in order from how we record, and we try to have a backlog because #MomLife. So you might hear a few more episodes that happened sequentially after this recording. That's not the most up-to-date information, but we're still going to release those in order. Please tune in and watch. It's very real and raw. I was pretty numb at this point. There's not a lot of emoting happening in this episode. I was pretty numb. But it's the real and raw experience of finally getting a diagnosis that is quite big and scary. So, like I said, we've learned a lot more. We are, still processing everything, but we just feel really blessed and really grateful to be where we're at with Ada, and that she has all of the skills and abilities that she does have. So, like I said, feel free to Google Rett syndrome and keep watching. Thanks so much.
Mama, I have poop.
We are mildly crushing it. We're two exhausted moms try to make sense of this wild ride called raising neurodivergent kids.
We're not doctors and we're not therapists, and you probably shouldn't take our advice. We cuss like sailors and drink like pirates.
Just think of us as your inappropriately funny and brutally honest support group.
So grab a drink and lower your expectations.
Because the truth is, we need this, and we're going to keep doing this whether you're here or not.
We just hope you join us. You ready?
I guess.
Okay. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Mildly Crushing It. I'm Sadie.
I'm Morgan.
And today is a little bit of a different episode for us. We are at my house today, by the way, so you're going to hear some pitter-patter of a child running loose. So anyways, today, though, really, we're going to have a pretty serious episode. As you've been following our story, you're all pretty well aware that Morgan has been fighting for a diagnosis for her child now for freaking ever, basically.
Feels like forever.
Yeah, and Morgan got some news. So this episode, we're going to talk about her daughter's diagnosis and some more of their journey on how they got to where they are. And then if we have a little bit of time at the end, we'll go over a few tips and tricks that kind of help what you can do to support someone who just went through a really rough diagnosis. So
love that.
So I'm gonna let you just take over and kind of start.
Where do I even start?
You could give us a rough background of your previous stuff with Ada.
Yeah. So about 5 years ago, we were pointed in the direction of autism to just get assessed for autism. Maybe, maybe not. Over the years, she's been assessed probably 6 times, I think. It's been too much. Poor little girl. And it kind of was always like, it seems a little like autism, but no, it's not. And maybe it's intellectual disorder, but no, not that either. And almost every assessment, I was told, well, she's just a mystery, which I loved.
That's what every parent wants to hear.
So anyway, her pediatrician referred us to UCSF genetics, and he actually referred us a couple years ago, and I had a major mental block. I could not get myself to follow through with it in any way, like even the slightest, smallest little step forward. I couldn't get myself to do it. So
It's like you felt it in your gut.
yeah. So about a year ago, David and I, we had just gotten through with a full psych eval with the school. Again, no answers. And so the pediatrician brought up the genetics again. And I enlisted my husband's help again. I enlisted my husband's help for the first time because I knew I would just continue to block it out. So with his help, we got it done. And it was about a year in the making between us getting sent the actual test kit and it sitting on top of our fridge for a few months.
Yep.
While they called us to get it done. And then we finally got it done. And then it takes about 4 months to get the results. So Tuesday morning, just a few days ago, we had our meeting with UCSF over Zoom. And they told us they found a gene mutation and she has something called Rett syndrome. So it's RETT syndrome. It's a rare, let me see if I can get it right, a rare progressive I have it written down. My brain's been a little bit loopy. I'm not gonna
Yeah,
lie.
this just happened. And so the fact that you know any information really is a huge deal.
So it's called a progressive neurological developmental disorder. So it's a pretty serious diagnosis. It's something I had heard of. I had heard someone say it before, but that's about it. And most people I talk to don't know what it is, including like some of the professionals that work with Ada every day, which I get it, no fault to anyone. They say it's about 1 in 23,000, but Ada is high functioning. And so she has a variant of it. And we're still going to learn what that even means, for her future. I think it means she's atypical, but maybe that's not what it means to be atypical. But because she's high functioning, she's 1/3 of the rare Rett syndrome population. So she's even more rare. So yeah. So that's about it. I got off the call, lost my shit, and came straight over here to Sadie's and cried on her couch.
Yeah.
And that was kind of that day. A lot of crying and a lot of, I don't even know.
So can you tell me, did you, in all of your emotions, did you at any point feel any specific relief that you are like done with, that you can, okay, let me think here. I have so many questions. But did you feel any sense of relief that you finally have a diagnosis?
When we were on the call and she said, we found something, I literally was like, okay. And then she said Rett syndrome. And she kept talking about it.
You're all, excuse me, what the fuck is this? What does this mean?
Yeah. David, he was at work. We honestly thought it was going to be nothing. Like, even though my nervous system knew better, I was like, there's probably going to be nothing,
Well, when you're used to being told no
Yeah,
so many times, that's the
yeah.
last thing you think is going to hit.
Yeah. So David went to work and did the meeting at work, and he was losing it on the other end. And I was like, like,
Taking notes.
just like
Yep.
going cross-eyed, not following anything basically. So the relief turned into terror
Real-
pretty
I
quickly.
was going to say how
Pretty quickly.
those are emotions. I can imagine feeling like instant relief, like, oh
Yeah.
my God, we got a fucking diagnosis finally that
Yeah.
you've been spending years to fight for.
Yeah.
And now we have something to like hone in on.
Yeah.
But then the reality of that, I'd imagine just fucking smashing you right in the face.
Right. And then the first thing that I really kind of started to process was the change in me with my interactions with her,
Okay.
like just that evening. You know, we were like one foot in the neurotypical world, one foot in the neurodivergent world for so long. It was like we didn't know where we were, and no one knows where you're going to go in life. I get it, but
Yep.
we were just kind of like, okay, like let's figure these things out. Let's move out of one phase and into another, and
Yep.
and we just weren't. And
You were in a limbo for sure.
yeah, and it causes a lot of frustration. But what I've figured out is at the root of that frustration is the fear of the unknown. And fear really can disguise itself as so many different emotions. And so I'm trying not to guilt myself for that, because like I told David that night, I was like, wow, instantly I have so much more patience for her. And I was like, I wish that wasn't the case. I wish I didn't need a diagnosis to be that patient with my daughter.
Yep.
And he was just like, yeah, but that's real. And what's helped me kind of process that a little bit is watching my 9-year-old, because he's had what seems to be the same experience, and he's 9.
Yep.
And how, you know, innocently hearted can a 9-year-old be, right?
Yep.
And so to watch him, I mean, we told him that night, David and I agreed, we're not going to tell Harvey yet, right? Until we understand what it is.
Yeah, it's a lot to take in.
And he comes into the bathroom where I am with Ada while Harvey's in the shower, and he's like, hey, so I wanted to just plant the seed about what genetics really is. And he said the M word, the mutation word. So I'm sort of telling him, sorry. That's how that went. But we've always been able to be really open with Harvey, and like he understands we don't know. And so anyway, to watch him kind of his resentment get completely washed away has been a really
Huge.
eye-opening experience.
And it does sometimes sadly take that diagnosis for, like, I think you nailed it
Yeah.
perfectly. The unknown is really like, and I mean this, I don't know how this is even going to sound, but it's like, is that kid doing this and they can help it and they're just like acting out? Or is this something, and for some reason that just allows so much grace to be given when
Yeah.
you've got that diagnosis. And especially with kids, it's easier for them to be like, oh, it's okay to an extent because
Yeah.
she is, you know, different. She's got,
Yeah.
you know, so
Oh, totally.
I don't know.
And-
I hate that it is that way, that
Yeah.
like you have to have a diagnosis almost to be
Yeah.
forgiven
Yeah.
in a way, but like,
Well, and if you look up what this disorder is, it's terrifying.
yeah.
And it's so sad what it can steal from
These beautiful
mostly
children.
little girls, but I'm hearing there are little boys now. But yeah, it's so heartbreaking. And so to go from that frustration of like, let's figure this out, let's move on from this, to, oh my God, we're so lucky. I mean, those are such polarizing, perspectives.
But I love that you can see it that way, because a lot of people, I think it's human nature to just be like, what the fuck? Why us?
Yeah.
And you're able to already spin it to see that like we're lucky with what we have, because
Right.
it could be
Right.
more extreme.
Well, and I think part of that too is like, because she's more on the higher functioning side and more rare, they know less about what her journey will look like.
Jesus.
And so it's still possible that she could regress just at an older age.
Yep.
David and I both read about 10-year-olds that lost their ability to speak. Some lost their ability to walk at that older age. Losing the function of the hands is really common. So to also kind of feel like maybe your days are numbered, I mean, that's a whole nother. I told you the other day when we had the, honor really of touring the property that the We Are Up Foundation
Yeah.
is going to use to build their new facility for special needs individuals. And we left and I said, I was like so happy for a second imagining our girls being here together, maybe one day if we're so lucky.
Right? Living together in a little apartment.
And then I thought, what if she regresses to the point where that's not even a good fit for her,
Right.
And like, I don't know if that thought will ever leave my mind.
I don't think it will.
I have to try to force myself to not go there because all you can do is live in the day, but
Yep.
in
And
the,
that's
in the
what-
moment.
That's a big thing I feel like for special needs parents is I do really bad at living in the moment. It's one of my big flaws. Like I'm always like, what's next? What are we doing next?
Mhm.
And like we're planning for this. So like fuck everything else on the journey to there. Like
Mhm.
I'm really bad about that. And I know I am. And
Yeah.
that's one thing that's been really hard for me, but I feel like is necessary as fuck is to live. When you're a special needs parent, you have to live day by day.
Mm-hmm.
And
Oh yeah.
luckily, my husband can worry about all the big picture of things.
Mhm.
Thank gosh that I have him for that support. But
Yeah.
that's one thing that helps me is just like today is today.
Mm-hmm.
Tomorrow's going to be different. And I
Right.
can't even look a week ahead.
Well, and we've even talked too about like, it's really easy at the end of the day to be like, oh, this day was shit.
Yep.
But then when you unpack it, it's like, no, there was like 2 hours in there that were super, super hard.
Yep.
But to be able to even kind of separate your day into hours or moments.
That's what it takes.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm realizing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying really hard because I feel like in our world, every day can be hard.
Mm-hmm.
And so lately I've been trying really hard to be intentional and just be like, okay, that was a hard couple
Mhm.
hours,
Mm-hmm.
but look what we did today. She kept
Yeah.
a shirt and underwear on for 20 minutes today.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I'm trying really hard to hold that,
Yeah.
the hope and the success.
Right.
Because
Right.
if not, it just gets dark.
Yeah.
And what can you do?
Yeah. I think that, that perspective that our days might be numbered, it makes you look at your child a whole different way.
Right.
Numbered in the sense of her abilities. It's not a terminal thing. It's not a diagnosis that comes with a shorter life expectancy. It just is their abilities. There's so many of their abilities get taken away from them. So that's what I mean when
Able
I say
to live
days
a
are
full
numbered.
life, I guess you would say.
Right.
Right?
Well, I mean,
Not
you
a full
hope
life.
that no matter what someone's abilities are,
Yeah.
they're living a full life and,
I don't know how to put that term.
physically.
Just physically.
Just being able to do the things they
Yeah.
want to do. And like at this point, Ada's going to be 7 and she's such a vibrant
Yeah.
girl. She loves to go and do things. She wants to run. She wants to dance all the time. She sings. She talks constantly. I've complained about it a ton. And now
Now you're like,
all
let
of
me
a
hear that
sudden-
fucking voice anytime. girl.
yes. Like
'Cause
quit your
who knows
bitching
if
because that could be taken away
Yep.
at any moment. And yeah, that's heartbreaking.
And you just don't fucking know.
Right. So I don't know how I'm going to process that over the years.
Fuck. I don't know how you're processing
But-
anything right now, but you're doing good.
I had a breakdown the day after. I'm so grateful to not be working.
Right. So you can have your time to
Because-
process shit.
Yeah. I'm so grateful to David to be like championing it, like,
Yep. To be able to
cheering
feel your
that
shit
on.
and do that.
and encouraging me to do that. And I mean, so much of it is necessary because I mean, as special needs moms, you do so much. I mean, my entire day yesterday was county offices and paperwork and
Yep.
phone calls. My entire day yesterday. And I actually
Full-time
was
fucking job.
I was supposed to cut a close friend's hair. And he texted me, "Hey, I knocked. There's no answer." I was like, "Oh, yep, that's why I don't really work anymore."
You're all sorry.
Yeah, like, but I moved a chair in our backyard to catch the morning sun, and I
Yeah.
just sat there, and I just was kind of like, what the fuck? Because we really don't know a lot about it at all.
Doesn't seem like anyone really does.
And it was kind of like every time I would go to research, it's terrifying. So I was kind of just taking a break, and I went into this mode of like, what the fuck was the last 5 years? Like,
Dude, fucking luck.
I mean,
Because, and that's what I was saying too, like, I'm so happy nobody just slapped you with a
Mhm.
diagnosis, because you never would have done this.
right.
If you
Right.
would have gotten that autism diagnosis just for someone to give you a diagnosis, and your
Yeah.
journey would have probably stopped.
Yeah. Yeah. I got all
And
those
that's what's
no's.
fucking terrifying,
And
dude.
It is. And all these years, I'm like begging for someone to just truly see her and truly hear what we deal with at home and what she deals with all the time. And to look back, I understand now that everyone was seeing her.
Yep.
And no, it's not autism, but there is something. I mean, that was seeing her.
Yep, we just didn't
Writing
have
a-
our rare genetic books.
Yeah. But like writing a review that encourages her to get supports because they knew she needs it. Marking the box to make sure she gets in the special day class. But I'm sorry, I can't give her any other kind of diagnosis
I'm so
right
happy
now.
no
Like,
one did at the end of the day.
right. And I thought the system was broken. And in a way, it is.
But
It's failing
But it all worked out for her.
specifically certain parts of the diagnostic
Yep.
journey is very broken. And even once kids have diagnoses, I mean, there's so much reform that needs to happen, in my opinion. It is broken.
Yep.
But it wasn't failing Ada. And I'm so grateful. But also, a lot of the symptoms that come along with Rett syndrome, like a lot of kids that that eventually get diagnosed with Rett syndrome do get an autism diagnosis first.
And
They sometimes do get the intellectual
Intellectual
disability disorder first. So I was right on track.
Yep.
And
you were right on track for everything.
right. And I totally had this breakdown moment of like, I don't know if we've done anything to help her be higher functioning. But I got her into speech when she was
Little.
2.
You did the things.
I fought for her to have special services in preschool. They would drive to her preschool. I was being told constantly and still taking her to speech twice a week. And, I fought for the special day class and
You
fought for
to get
her to
the
be in
help.
RCRC, and now she has swim lessons.
I'm a huge believer in early intervention. I
Right.
feel like Ellie is the way she is because of all of her interventions.
Yeah.
And I feel like 100%.
Yeah.
You putting her in the things and doing the things,
Mhm.
it's
Yeah.
definitely helped.
Yeah.
How could it not have?
Right. I hope so. It just was like this big kind of, I don't know, wake up moment. Like the me 10 years ago would not even recognize me now. Like
Mhm.
I had to turn into someone entirely different to get her what she needed. And it was like just this like, it's so bizarre to have this feeling of like, for 5 years, I thought that I was alone and I was on my own team. And then to look back and realize, no, I was never alone. And it was always, they were always on my team. They were always trying to do right for
Gotta be a
Ada.
validating good feeling.
And a shitty feeling.
I was gonna say, and a shitty feeling all rolled into one.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
can't imagine what your emotions must be right now.
Yeah, it's bizarre. It's bizarre.
So what has helped you at all cope a little bit with this news you got? Has anything been able to help yet? Like what?
First of all, watching Harvey. Oh my God. He's back to like just wanting to
Help her?
yeah
Support her, I should say.
yeah
Not,
support
not
her.
help her,
Yes.
support her.
Yeah, he's really just wanting to support her, inviting her back into his room and like, Ada, look at this, you know.
See, it took him a
and-
diagnosis too to be like, hey, my sister's not
Yeah.
just being a turd. Like she
Yeah.
actually can't
yeah,
control herself.
right.
I mean that in a kind way.
No,
I mean
it's
like
true.
people just see it as like, oh, it's so annoying, but it's like,
Yeah.
oh, the moment you learn they can't help themselves, it just lightens the mood.
Right. Well, and what he said the night we told him, and I had a breakdown moment because what Harvey said that night, you know, we were telling him like, you know, we're not really going to like announce it or tell a lot of people until we can figure out how to discuss it with Ada
Yep.
first, so that she's not feeling like she's being talked about. And he completely understood that. And he was like, okay, so from now on, if someone tries to say that she's different, I'll say, yeah, she is different, but she's our special girl.
Oh, I love that so much. That melted my
And
heart.
I started crying instantly. And it dawned on me that like all this time, people have probably been telling him, your sister's different.
Yep.
And he had no response. Like what could like,
I feel like Miles is like, my sister's special needs because we
Right.
have a diagnosis to throw in people's faces. And
Yeah.
the diagnosis just helps the world understand, which is sad that
it's
takes
so
that.
sad. And I love that Harvey is armed with that now and can feel more comfortable
Yep.
with Ada's differences. But it goes back to how society is just not there
Yeah.
yet.
It's a double-edged sword
yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
Like I said, how many
Yeah.
times I've been like, she's fucking special needs to
Yeah.
strangers. Like, why do I have to yell that for you to just be a
Mhm.
kind human?
Oh, there's a few people that I really want to just like, fuck you, you know? And then I found a couple Rett syndrome Facebook
Perfect.
support groups. And I kind of, you know, lurked in the background for a couple days. And then last night, I was like, fuck it, I'm fucking lost. And I just posted
Oh,
on there,
good.
like, this is the position we're in. There's like 5 gals that private messaged me and sat there and chatted with me for like 10 minutes.
I love that.
And
Finding community.
one of them was actually able to explain the mutation to me. And it's funny because now, in hindsight, she was saying pretty much exactly what the doctors were saying at UCF.
Yeah, but just
I
in
just
a way
was
you
like
can understand it.
not mentally ready for it, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And then another one said that she has a 10-year-old that's also incredibly high functioning, and developmentally she's about a 6-year-old, but can function and do all the things.
Yep. Good place to be.
And that sounds exactly like Ada. She said that her doctors, the specialist she works with, said her daughter may never regress and is likely not to. So how can anyone know that? I don't know, but that gives me hope.
I was going to say, but it gives you a fucking little bit of
Yeah.
hope. So let's take
Yeah.
it where we can, right?
And then another one said that her daughter did regress like 2 or 3 times, I think, to the point of not being able to walk and then learn to walk again.
okay.
So at first I thought everything was irreversible, and maybe it is for a lot of kids. I don't know, but
But there's also a chance that it's not
Yes.
set in stone,
yes.
which is, I
Yes.
guess, when you're in this situation, all you can hope for, right?
Right. Exactly. So that was really helpful.
So-
So I think the Rett community is like, And also, I had found one of the things I researched was this mom. Her name's Monica. She runs Rett Syndrome Research Trust, and she started it, I don't know, more than 20 years ago, because she promised her daughter she would find a cure.
Oh, I love that
And
so much.
it's turned into a massive organization. They've raised millions and millions of dollars.
On research for it.
And because they're not affiliated with the government, they can be a little bit more like straightforward
Yep.
with their research. And, you know, and so anyway, they've teamed up with whoever they need to team up with to get it to clinical trials. But anyway, they've been in clinical trials for a couple years.
Wow,
And-
that's freaking unreal.
Yeah, the video I watched was a couple years old. I guess they're going to do a webinar soon. But the video I watched, she mentioned like, you know, the word cure can mean very different things to different people. And for her right now, it's an improvement on symptoms.
I love that.
And so even if that's, you know, all that Ada gets in her life, if she's able to access that,
That's huge.
that would be a dream. So that gives me a lot of hope. But what I was saying is I think that the Rett community is small enough because, like I said, a handful of women really devoted a chunk of their time with me last
I
night.
love that.
And then one of them works for Monica.
Oh my God.
And she was like, make sure you register on the website. She'll take time out of her day to Zoom with newly diagnosed moms and
Oh, I love that.
sit and
so
talk and
much.
explain things. And
That's what you need when you get a
I'm like,
diagnosis. You need a community. Don't sit
yeah.
alone.
yes.
I sat alone for 2 years
Yeah.
and I don't know why I didn't get on Facebook groups. I didn't do anything. And I don't know why I didn't find
Yeah.
a community.
Yeah.
So I'm really happy you just like
Yeah.
dove the fuck in.
Yeah. I'm learning that's what I do. My husband and I process things very differently. And I think that my way of diving right in.
Ellie's having a great time, you guys. I'm sure you can hear that.
What is she doing?
She's singing.
Sweet girl. Yeah, I think that my way of processing and his way of processing is so opposite that, like, you know, sometimes when I come at him with stuff, especially early on, it can feel kind of overwhelming.
Yep.
And I'm so grateful that we've learned together how like we each process differently and you know, we can still come together and like figure this out.
Figure it out. Oh my God,
Yeah,
she's so loud. I'm
she's
so sorry, everybody.
It's so fun.
So you might still be new in this because I know you haven't really told anyone, but what are some things that have helped you? Has anything happened to you that just has helped you and made you feel a little bit better?
Well, you sending dinner.
Dinner's always legit.
Oh my gosh. Sadie sent us dinner like people do when people lose a loved one. I had never thought to do that.
No one wants to
And
cook.
David and I, like I told David, I was like, Sadie's insisting on door dashing dinner for us. And we both were like, oh, thank God.
You're all good because I forgot we have to feed
Yeah,
everybody in this
yeah.
household.
Yeah. And it really is. I mean, it can be debilitating. You
I
know,
have a girlfriend and she would, I'll never ever forget. We're not super close anymore. I still love her. Nothing happened, just life and
Mhm.
kids and stuff. But going through all of our stuff, like I would come home from being gone in Frisco and there'd be Instacart, you know, at my
Mhm.
door.
Yeah.
And she did that a lot for us. And that was
Aw.
one thing that I really
That's
freaking
huge.
appreciated. And I was like, oh my God, she sent Costco mac and cheese and fucking soup. It's like the best day ever.
Oh.
But it was something that totally, like, I have another girlfriend and occasionally she'd send me like a Starbucks gift card so I get coffee on the way home. But
Yeah.
I just realized those little things
Yeah.
are
Yeah.
fucking huge,
Yeah.
monumental when you're
Who
going
did
through stuff
that?
like that. Emily Walker
Yeah.
she was the one with the Starbucks
Yeah.
and stuff. But then my friend Megan Lamanuzzi.
Oh.
And even I've had to like leave Amaya home alone because my stay went longer and she's like, Blake would be gone for work and she would like deliver food to him. Just like
Oh, yeah.
stuff that you can't, you
Yeah.
know, just the best ever.
Oh.
I don't know. When I got all of our diagnosis and stuff, we had like some friends over for dinner that we talked to, but
Yeah.
I really just didn't, I don't know. I
I'm-
isolated myself a lot, and
That's very much what I do, and I've learned that about myself. I isolate big time. So I forced myself to send just a couple texts out.
perfect. That was my next
And
question.
I was
Did
like,
you actually
I'm
tell
not
people. What
right.
did you do?
I was like, I'm not ready to talk about it, but this is what we learned, because also like people would have to do their research to even be able to talk about it.
Yep. My
Um,
husband did instantly.
that was so funny. I
He's so precious.
got off the call from UCSF, broke down, and like through my blurry crying eyes, I text Sadie, I'm coming over. And I get here, and I wasn't here for like 10 minutes. And Blake comes downstairs and was just shooting questions at me. And I was like, bruh, sounds like you know more than I do right now. Like, I don't know. It's so Blake.
Because we
though.
love you guys.
Well, and
We
yeah.
gotta know what's going on.
Yeah.
But he was
It
totally
really
like
sweet,
researching right away.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah. And like David reached out to a few friends.
Perfect.
So,
So you're not isolating, which is the main
right.
thing.
And,
Community is so important.
I mean,
which we
we're
talk
lucky
about.
because we've been on this journey for so long. Like, we kind of know who to reach for.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense.
You know, and it's not like if we didn't reach for someone that they're any less to us, but you know, you reach for different people at different times in your life.
Yep.
And so yeah, we both reached out to a few people, and then just like being really gentle on
I
myself.
love that. Oh,
Hey girl.
you can grab some ice cream. Go ahead. You can grab whatever you want. Yeah, go ahead, girl. No nuts. That's correct.
She's like, Mom's recording. I can do whatever I want.
Yeah. Here's your third ice cream for the day. I don't even care at all, honestly. Whatever. Blake's been out of town for days. I'm just like, well, fuck it.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're just all surviving. Love you. Go play in the toy room.
Yum yum.
Get out of here, naked baby.
So funny.
All right. Well, anything else we want to discuss? Anything else you want to say? What do you want to do?
Are there any other, like, I really love the idea of talking about what people can do.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I love like the gift card for a coffee. That's like changed my life. Like the meals was to me.
Yeah.
And I know this sounds bad, but like I've learned, and I like to treat someone with a new diagnosis like they're grieving. And I know
Yeah.
that sounds probably pretty harsh and deep, but you are grieving
100%.
a life that you thought in your head was
Yeah.
going to play out.
Yeah.
And I just feel like, I know that sounds harsh, but I've had people ask me, what do I do? And I'm like, treat it like a death.
Mm-hmm.
I know that sounds fucked up, but
Well, and I think that so many people think that grieving is solely for losing a loved one.
and it is
but-
not.
Grieving is anytime your future is going to look different than you imagined.
Yep.
You're grieving. You know, if people get divorced, they're grieving the future they thought they were going to have.
Yep.
Something so simple as like
Grieving is
going to one
so-
school and then you have to go to a different school. Like
Yeah.
you grieve so many different things in so many different ways. And just because we're grieving doesn't mean it's, you know, such a bad thing. It doesn't mean we're
Yep.
looking at our child with disdain, and
Not at all.
you know, it's quite the opposite. It's us
We're-
trying to
We're sad that they are not getting that typical.
yeah, we're sad that they're not getting the typical experience. And we're sad for ourselves that we're not getting the typical experience.
Yep.
But also, if we don't allow ourselves the time to process that properly, we can't step into the reality that we really are in and that we're needed in. And I just strongly believe that.
Me too.
So I do want to also add that one of the things that's really helped me is Ada's school.
Good. I love that.
And come to find out, one of the teachers, that she'd be across the room, and like I always felt this weird connection from across the room, like, just really love you. I
Like,
don't know why
we should be
yet.
friends.
Right. Like I don't know why yet, but I just really love you.
You
And,
just meet people like that.
she, her daughter, I guess, is about 18 now, but she got a rare genetic diagnosis, and it was so what, like 16 years ago or
Ugh.
something. So back then there wasn't
Probably a
Facebook
hard time to
groups.
get that.
You know, Google was a very different animal.
Yeah.
So like basically the doctors were like, well, you know about as much as we do now. Bye. So she was, I mean, I can't imagine what that
that would
journey
be
was
like.
like for her. But you know, I was put in touch with her, and then I don't know, it's coincidentally Teacher Appreciation Week. And I want to read something that I wrote to the teachers, because
Oh, I love this.
I always want to do more than I can for the teachers. And I got home today, you know, all stuck in the feels. So, just in case anyone at her school didn't see this. Dear teachers and staff, this week we found out some devastating news about our Ada girl. She has a rare genetic progressive developmental disorder called Rett syndrome. While I'm so happy to have answers, it's been really hard to process. So coincidentally, on this Teachers Appreciation Week, I'm feeling all the feels. As I sit here in the deafening silence after dropping the kids off, I can't help but wonder how my emotions were so polarizing this morning and every morning since we found out the news. I would drop her off and like be just like bubbly as ever, and then get home and just like,
Lose it.
what the fuck? I said, I was so happy, but I know why, and it's because of you, all of you. I truly wish I could show my appreciation to each of you in such a big way, because nothing will ever feel like enough for all you have given us. A place where our daughter gets to be safe and happy and truly herself, where she is so obviously loved and so well taken care of, is something I will never take for granted. I see you. I see all the love and energy you pour into the students, and thank you will just never feel like enough. But truly, thank you.
Oh, I love that.
So I sent that to the teachers. So I hope that they all see that, because, you know, you read on like ChatGTP, like, what can I do to show my appreciation? And it's always like, you know, a heartfelt letter would be, you know, an inexpensive route.
I love that.
And I'm always like, yeah, but how can I even like put into words, you know?
That was fantastic.
And it just was like, it just kind of hit me like, holy shit, that has been helping me so much, because I get to take Ada somewhere where she's happy to go.
Yep.
And I can leave her there with full trust that she is exactly where she needs to be.
Which is pretty rare. So
and I
that's
can come
really...
home and I can have the time to process or go to the different offices and take care of stuff. So I'm really, really grateful for that. So
good.
Should we do weird wins?
Hashtag weird win. Yay!
Weird win for me, not yesterday, but the day before. Ellie had a phenomenal day at school. She didn't turn into Bowser, and she kept her clothes on all day.
Yay!
And that is a big weird win for us. Ellie is having a hard time keeping clothing on in public. She's been taking her clothes off a lot at school, and we got just a really great note home. We had no seizures. She independently went to the bathroom, which does not ever happen. She's got like timed bathroom breaks. And for the first time ever, she like said she needed to go potty, went to the bathroom.
What?
So yeah, she had a big day on Tuesday, a lot of weird wins.
Oh, that's
huge. That's mine. I almost took a picture of it and posted it actually, then I didn't do it. But
yay.
So that's mine. You got any weird wins? You're like, no, not bucking today. I don't.
No, I feel like I thought of something. That's why I brought it up. I mean, Harvey's my weird win today.
Oh, I love it. Go.
I mean, he's an incredible human. And
yep, when he told me my sister doesn't have the autism.
That's so funny.
And then he told me about the genetic stuff. And I was like, good boy.
Yeah.
Good boy,
Yeah.
Harv. It was precious.
Yeah.
So.
And then at soccer, he has amazing coaches right now. And they handed out awards. And he was one of 3 or 4 that got like an extra award because he was really stand out. You know, he really stood out on the field. And I just looked at him and I was like, how'd that make you feel? And he kind of looked at me because I don't ask that question very much. And instantly I was like, oh shit, Ma, you need to ask that question more, you know? And he's like, makes me feel really special.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
I love that so much. Miles
He said it makes me feel really proud.
Isn't that the best feeling ever?
Yeah.
Miles said that for when he had his play.
Aw.
And he was just like, I loved today. It was the best day ever. I felt so loved and supported. And I was like, oh,
Oh.
son of a bitch. Do you not feel like that enough?
love
But
that,
it was
yeah.
so I feel that with you. Like,
yeah.
oh, when they can say something like that, that's really special shit.
Totally. Yeah. And just watching him, navigate this and reconnect with her.
Fucking huge.
Yeah.
Fucking huge win.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
huge.
love you.
I love you too.
Thanks everyone for tuning in and getting caught up on the journey. And we're really
Yeah.
appreciative. And we hope that, you guys find some solace in finding us. And
Yes. If you have any diagnosis stories that you'd like to share,
yeah, shoot them over.
Yeah, we'd love to hear because everyone's journey is so different.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, stick with us
Yeah.
and watch Morgan's your new path that you're on. I
right.
feel like you've got a path, girl, and
Right.
here we fucking go.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Love you.
Thanks everybody. Bum, bum, bum.